Yeah, all right. Cool. Like Naruto said, I'm Mayur, founder of Arcana. In Arcana, we like to say we are in the business of abstractions. We've done stuff like wallet abstraction, gas abstraction, and now focusing on doing chain abstraction. And so here today, firstly, I just want to introduce you guys to the concept of chain abstraction very quickly. No slides presentations. I'm pretty sure all of you will basically understand it. Chain abstraction, first and foremost, according to us, is unification of fragmented balances, especially on the user side, and allowing this user to spend these unified balances as one almost instantly without needing to bridge. So now in order to achieve that, we built out this whole protocol. We have an SDK that exposes the protocol. We'll look at the SDK. But what we did first and foremost is we put the SDK into a wallet app, and I'll show you that first. So what we have here is essentially like a standard EOA wallet. What I did is I created a wallet on MetaMask, had some funds on it, I imported it into this. It works exactly like MetaMask, Rabby, etc. do. The difference, as you will see here, is that what we do in this wallet is we essentially unify a user's asset balances across different chains. Right? So first is the unification of those asset balances. So I have ETH here across 5 different chains and a combined balance of about 0.02. Same with USDC. I have it up on about 5 different chains again, and so on and so forth, right? And now, of course, the point is, now that we've unified the balances, how do we get the user to spend them without needing to bridge and almost instantly, right? So now if I go to an app like Avail, right? And let me head over to Avail's, let's say, base market. So now what you will notice is that on base, I have about 1.9 USDC, but on Avail, on the base market, we get Avail to show the combined balances, right? Yeah, so now I can spend all of that. And so if I try and hit supply, there should be no way I'm able to supply more than the 1.9 odd USDC that I have. But let's try and do 5. And if I hit supply, what will happen now is in the wallet, me as the user, I'm going to get to see my intent. I should have switched to your guys' internet, but it's okay. So this is my intent, which we show the user, which basically says, you want to spend 5 USDC on base on Aave. You have only 1.9 on base, but you have more on OP, and we can use that. And basically for a fee, which is about 1 cent, we can make it happen. So I, as a user, just hit one button. My intent will get verified. The liquidity that I'm missing on the base side will get collected from my OP balance, and a solver will supply down to me the missing liquidity on the base side. Once I receive the liquidity, my transaction on Aave will also get submitted. Basically, everything will get done in a matter of seconds. If I may say so myself, pretty cool. So yeah, it's great. And we do this on a wallet. We obviously doing this on production Aave. Aave didn't integrate anything. We did it permissionlessly. We do this on Aave, Uniswap, Jumper, Hyperliquid, Polymarket, a bunch of different apps. So like I told you guys before, what we have is the SDK. So I'm just going to demonstrate like how easy it is for any app to basically go multi-chain in literally a matter of minutes. So what I have here is it's some very basic code for a NFT minter, right? So very simple, one NFT, I mint it. It costs me 0.0005 ETH. This is an NFT contract we've deployed to Scroll, and I need to have that much ETH on Scroll to be able to buy it, right? So I go ahead and connect wallet, and right now I'm connecting my MetaMask, and it's telling me I have no ETH. And obviously now I cannot buy it. So how do we change it, right? So to be able to change this, it's actually going to be just some very small changes. I hope you guys can see this code. So first and foremost, let's try and show the unified balance, right? So that's the first thing. So what we need to do is you need to obviously install the Arcana SDK. I've gone ahead and done that. That one step is done. So it's just a simple npm install. That part is done. So now once I do that, we just need to now start using the Arcana provider. Just basically a wrapper around the existing provider. So first thing I need to do is I get the chain abstraction provider that the Arcana SDK provides. And then basically I go and wrap my children in this simple WAGMI app with the CA provider. Okay, so this part is done. Now, once we have this, the next thing we need to do is just to not show balances from like what MetaMask is telling us or what the standard provider is telling us, but now get the like the unified balance. Right? So for that, again, I basically have to do some very simple copy pasta here. So come here and basically say, instead of getting balances like this would over here from the public client, now get it from Arcana's provider, right? Come here, I'll just comment this off. Now we're setting balances. Basically, I should technically be able to, with this one change, be able to get this combined balance. So now if we go back here, I maybe next. Sorry, here we go. So yeah, that's what we're able to do. This is my combined ETH balance across for that particular account across different chains. And we can quickly go check it out also. And if I scroll to OP and go to tokens and say popular networks, you'll see that I have this ETH on Base, on Arbitrum, OP, etc., etc. So now here, and now we basically need to be able to, in a hitment, it should now do some stuff, right? So for that, again, it's just literally just one update where I go to my app.tsx. So there is use write contract that WAGMI gives me. There we go. Now when I hit mint, what the SDK is going to do is basically intercept that call and say, figure out that you don't have the money, what the wallet does basically in our wallet example. And it should work. Let's hope it does. Yeah, there we go. So we show the user the intent. We're saying, okay, you have very little on scroll, but you have on Base. You can get it. There's a fee. You go ahead. It gives you this plug and play UI where you can show this intent. So now the first transaction I'm signing on my MetaMask is my intent. That creates the intent on the Arcana side. Once that intent is created, then now I need to do the deposit on my source chain. So this is my deposit transaction. I do that, and then I'll get the money. And then finally the mint function call will happen. So what we do is essentially you have the Arcana chain here. So a simple Cosmos-based app chain. No one needs to deploy anything to this. Then we have the SDK. This could be in any app or a wallet, doesn't matter, right? So what we do is that we basically deploy what are called Arcana vaults, essentially escrow contracts on every chain that we support. So let's say this is chain 1 and chain 2. This is Arcana Vault. And what we have additionally is a solver network, liquidity providers, right? So now the user expresses an intent, that intent is captured, user confirms the intent, that basically goes to the Arcana chain. The Arcana chain now records the intent. So the Arcana chain's purpose is to be a state machine where it's basically going to hold the state of the entire life cycle of the intent, right? So the intent enters here. Once it is done, we figure out that now monies need to be collected on one or more source chains. So basically from the user's whatever connected wallet they may have, this could be my MetaMask. There is a collection that happens. This triggers an event saying deposits are done. Now there are a bunch of solvers. The solvers get into a race to now fill my order. So simple pass through on the destination side through our vault contract, which will then come and give me the money that I need. And then I'm able to kind of go ahead and submit my transaction on the app. So this is basically what happens. There's more stuff obviously now beyond this. Now the user's job is done. All good. Now this solver is basically front-end liquidity, right? So let's say the user 10.1 USDC because there's some fee. Solver front-end USDC, right? So now this money is in this world, and now it needs to be settled back to the solver. So that is where we actually start the settlement process. But this can happen anytime, right? So it can happen in a delayed fashion where we then start like the settlement process back. Then further to that, so what has happened is, let's say the solver is supplied 10 USDC on C2, it receives 10.1 on C1. What we can also do further for solver is to rebalance the solver back to C2. And that's something that we do at this layer. But then that is all away from the user. What we try and do is to get away from the user's path.
I saw that right now, your network was
connected my app, it was on scroll. Then when I hit mint, I was able to show unified balances, which enabled the mint button, right? Because I have more than the required amount. When I hit mint, it now figured that, okay, I need to show this user the intent. It shows me, I agree. And when it agrees, basically now it says, okay, now I need to collect from base. So it switches to base, makes the collection on base. Then it waits for the liquidity. And once the liquidity comes, it switches back to scroll. It's about this.
So, okay, that the function that can take the contract function.
Yeah.
As the magic of
particular
signature and that transaction what that on both the like.
Yeah, it's basically what we are doing is, instead of doing like a simple write to contract, we are now orchestrating a bunch of things before we do the write contract. So like how in our wallet, when I went to Avail and I hit the supply button, we actually intercepted that call and said, we need to do some stuff before actually submitting to Avail smart contract. We do the same logic over here, where now this mint button, it could be a supply button, it could be a stake button, it could be any button. And we just intercept that because that's where the hook is. And then once we intercept it, we figure out that things need to happen before this user can proceed, but we can make it happen. And that's what.
Well, Arcana Wallet, you made a single.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, a couple of things there. One is obviously because it's our wallet, we can do a bunch of things, optimizations that MetaMask will not do. That is one point. And the second thing is, in our wallet, in that example, I showed you an ERC20. So what we do in the wallet is that when, as part of onboarding, we do allowances for ERC20 contracts. So we can just pull funds as opposed to user actually having to click anything to say transfer. Here, however, it's ETH. So with ETH, there's no allowances. So now I need to explicitly do that. But what the paradigm we essentially change over here is basically now the user doesn't have the cognitive load of figuring out what they need, where they need it. They just have money. It could be wherever. That's one point. And the other thing is basically we reduce it down to just clicking of nodes, clicking of buttons, and that's it. Obviously, you need to review information, but it's just click, 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 and you do it. This will change once we are able to kind of do things like 702, where once that is available, then we can do things like batching, we can do things like gas sponsorship. It reduces clicks even more. So yeah, that's our goal. Keep reducing the clicks as much as possible, but some of it is beyond our control really.
And all of it
This is pure EOA. So we don't do smart accounts because, to be honest, nobody's smart account is fragmented if you have a smart account at all. And most of the smart account solutions, if you see, they require you to first move funds into a brand new smart account. If you're doing that, I might as well just go to the pain of doing what I need to do, which is bridge and think like that. So yeah, almost everyone's EOA is already fragmented. So we try to solve for that. So which is why you don't get magical 5-second time, but it's still pretty decent at around 20.
And how do you say
the Avail Nexus. Yeah, so right now, if you think about it, our Arcana chain, the app chain, is the proof system for basically settling with the solver. It becomes the state machine, which is the single source of truth for, did the deposit happen? Did the solver fill it? Did the user get what they want? And then who do we settle with and how much and things like that, right? So now This is the crypto economic solution. This makes it slow. This makes the security variable. I mean, you could get enough stake in this over time and it will be fine. But a cryptographic proving system over here, either replacing this or augmenting this, would make it faster and more predictably secure. So that's where we are looking to kind of leverage.
You have like an embedded wallet.
We do have an embedded wallet solution that's separate from all of this stuff. So now our goal is to at some point fuse the two. So now it'll be like Privy with chain abstraction.
Yeah, what's actually
We intend to open up. For us, the solver layer, initially we always thought that it has to be someone very sophisticated. So we started speaking to market makers, but there was very little uptake from the biggest market makers. We spoke to the smaller ones, we've spoken to Wintermute, but I think when we approached them, it was just a great market and people with liquidity can make far more money than you can make here. There's still good ROI opportunities here. But so we feel like the best solution for something like this is a very distributed, democratized solver layer where hopefully you can just, run it on your laptop. If you have like, I don't know, $1,000 or $5,000 of liquidity to put, you just put it. When you want to stop solving, you just close your laptop. It should work. All right. Thank you so much.